So our session today will take the first 20 minutes and we'll actually get into the where does the anger come from? What about projection of the anger and how it impacts our life? And then we'll get into a process of deeper understanding of how you can move on with the life. And today what we'll do is we'll practice a very simple IFS, and the practice that we'll do together today is something that you can repeat as many times as you want, when you want. So I'll make it very, very simple. Now, anger can be a protective response. So when we experience abuse, whether in childhood or adulthood, a part of us may respond with anger. Now, this anger serves as a protective layer because it is shielding us from the full impact of the abuse. It's as though a part of us is seeking to offload the intense emotion we are grappling with internally to the external world or sometime to ourselves. The next time you notice anger rising within you, you can take a moment to reflect and do what we are going to do today, which is starting by asking question, is this really about the person in front of me or the situation, or is this anger a reflection of a hurt from my past? So welcome everyone. Before we get into our session, let's begin with a brief grounding exercise to help us to arrive fully in this space and connect with all our senses of safety and calmness. Let's start by taking a few moments and be in a comfortable position and take a breath. As you breathe in, envision drawing in calmness and clarity, and as you exhale, let go of any tension or preoccupations. So breathe in, calmness, clarity, breathe out, any tensions or preoccupation. Do one more time, breathe in and breathe out. Now consider for a moment the anger you felt. Recognize that this emotion, while it is challenging, is often a guard standing at the gates of our consciousness, protecting us from deeper vulnerabilities. We are not here to fight or banish this guard. Instead, we are here to learn from it, to understand its story, and to help it trust that it can relax and allow us to approach our called self, the compassionate, confident, and curious center of our being. So during our time together, we will gently inquire into origins of the anger. We'll seek to listen to our parts with empathy and openness, understanding that each one holds a chapter of your story. As we witness and honor these parts, we are embarking on a path to self-healing, a journey that leads from turmoil of anger to more tranquility and deeper understanding. So let's all approach this session with the intent of learning, growing, integrating all parts of ourselves. Thank you for bringing your presence and your willingness to embark on this journey together. So our session today will take the first 20 minutes and we'll actually get into the where does the anger come from? What about projection of the anger and how it impacts our life? And then we'll get into a process of deeper understanding of how you can move on with the life. And today what we'll do is we'll practice very simple IFS, and the practice that we'll do together today is something that you can repeat as many times as you want, when you want. So I'll make it very, very simple. And then we'll get into sound healing. So whatever does come up, sound does help to release it out. I will do that. And then at the end of the hour, we will come back for Q&A in case you have any questions that may arise from the session or beyond. So let's get into the question, where does anger come from? Now, anger can be a protective response. So when we experience abuse, whether in childhood or adulthood, a part of us may respond with anger. Now, this anger serves as a protective layer because it is shielding us from the full impact of the abuse. For example, a person who has been criticized constantly by the parent, as a defense mechanism, the child may develop a part that responds with anger. And now as an adult, we'll see the adult responding with anger, but it comes from what the child went through, which is masking feelings of inadequacy or hurt. Now, it also comes from past trauma. Now, typically our reaction in case of abuse isn't just from a present moment. It often plays deeply in the past trauma. Now, anger can be expressed as an unresolved pain from those experiences of abuse. So in case somebody who has been betrayed or abandoned in the past may find that the current situation triggers similar feelings to an angry response as a way to avoid re-experiencing trauma. And anger can also be a way of regaining control. In situations where abuse makes us feel powerless or out of control, anger can emerge as a means to regain sense of agency and strength. For example, if someone felt controlled or manipulated in a relationship, they might use anger as a tool to reignite or reassert their independence and hence protect the boundaries. So in recognizing these patterns, we start to see anger not just as an emotion, but as a messenger telling us that there are parts of ourselves that are still in pain, that are still seeking to be heard and healed. And this understanding is a crucial step in moving forward towards self-compassion and true healing. And we will do this today in our experience afterwards. Now, projection of anger and its impact. So we also look at the projection of anger, especially as it relates to abuse, because it may be including deep scars left by all kinds of abuse, including sexual abuse. Now, grasping this concept can be a profound step towards our recovery and healing. So what is projection of anger? Now, projection occurs when we displace the anger stemming from abuse onto others. It's as though a part of us is seeking to offload the intense emotion we are grappling with internally to the external world or sometimes to ourselves. So we also get angry with ourselves. And it is a projection of a part to yourself. So example is, consider somebody who has experienced sexual abuse, and they may harbor deep-seated anger towards themselves or the person for what happened, and they might find themselves lashing out at someone, showing them concern, or themselves in a therapy session. I had somebody that I was working with where it said that when somebody shows me kindness, it was a preemption to an abuse that would happen. So the moment you showed kindness, there will be a huge anger that will rise. And so this anger is actually misdirected, but what was started was from the abuse that they endured. Now, why do we project anger? Projection often serves as a defense mechanism. It is a way to cope with the overwhelming feeling of anger without having to directly confront the painful abuse we have suffered. A person who has been shamed or who has had childhood abuse may interpret their partner's well-intention, sometimes as a suggestion, as a personal attack. And this then comes out as if you are projecting, as if you are trying to come out and attack again. So it feels like that it is a past abuse which is coming into the present interaction. So that's why there's a projection of anger. Now, what is the impact? Projected anger can be detrimental, causing misunderstanding and conflict. And this is always obstruction to the path of true intimacy and understanding of our own relationships. So someone who projects their unresolved angers from the past abuse onto their current partners may find themselves in frequent conflicts, which is creating a divide that stems from not current issues, but from the unaddressed trauma. So moving forward is acknowledging and exploring the origins of our projected anger is key. It requires us to look inwards, to explore parts of us that are still in pain and that need our attention. For example, the next time you notice anger rising within you, you can take a moment to reflect and do what we are going to do today, which is starting by asking a question: is this really about the person in front of me or the situation, or is this anger a reflection of a hurt from my past? So understanding dynamics of projection allows us to see the patterns in our emotional responses. This is really vital because it can lead us to a place of healing and changing our approach to relationships, and also gives us clarity, empathy, and compassion. So the process itself, and we are going to actually practice this today. Okay, the process has 4 steps. Okay, one is acknowledging. So we start by beginning to acknowledge the complexity, because there are mosaics of parts, some unwounded, some whole, and each of them have its own emotion, memories, and strengths. So what we will do is we'll use a trigger, an example, which holds anger from abuse, for example, that is seeking attention, and try and understand where it comes from. Then the way we do it is through self-compassion and curiosity. So we address each part always with compassion and curiosity, with an open heart. It's essential, this lens of empathy and inquiry, curiosity, because this starts to heal the wounds inflicted by abuse. So when you feel engulfed by anger stemming from past abuse, meeting this part with some kind of kindness you would offer someone you love. So ask it, and we are going to do it. What are you protecting me from? What do you need to heal? And then build an inner harmony. So our parts, then they start to learn to cooperate, creating a symphony rather than cacophony, which is what we have many times. And this harmony is all about integrating all aspects of our being into a balanced whole. So we will always encourage the part that has been on high alert since the abuse to come down and collaborate so that it can bring what it was doing originally, which is joy and trust. And so that's how you start to create a path back to wholeness. And that brings to the final step, which is move forward with self-leadership. Now, when we start to have an understanding of our parts and the role they have played and how they interact with each other, it brings clarity. And this clarity then leads towards self-leadership. Okay. And so so the classical thing is, if you are getting into a new relationship, if you start to consult with your parts, especially those who have experienced betrayal or abuse, and then decide collectively to get into relationship, this may be right for you. So you start to then use all parts of you, both that are whole or that are being partly worked on, to bring something much better for you. So it's how you move, and you move through life using this work. So embracing our multifaceted nature is key to authentic living. Okay, we will never be quote unquote fully healed or whole, but as you start to bring wholeness to parts of you, things start to shift and things start to happen towards where you want to be. So what we are going to do is to work today. And we will do exactly what I just said, but on an issue. So I send you a few questions for those of you who've come with that. What I want you to do is to, and you may have worked already, but just think about instances. What instances where you feel yourself getting angry at yourself or others? Try to write those instances, and it could also include triggers or events. So take a moment to do that. And while you're writing it down, you can just pick one, saying, I'm going to work on this today. And you can keep the rest of the list because it's important, because you can run it with the recording one by one. And see if you can put a pen and paper next to you, because I would like you to actually keep it ready as you work in the session itself. I want you to use your pen and paper to write. Okay, so make a choice, or one that you're going to work on. Okay, so we are going to get into that. So take a moment to just be relaxed. You can have your pen and paper next to you. And during the session, you can always open your eyes and write whatever came up. And you can also choose to do it at the end. Both are okay. Just see if you can be in a comfortable position, at ease. Focus on your breath. So draw in slowly, deeply through your nose, and then exhale through your mouth. Breathe in and breathe out. Now take a moment to do a scan. So what you do is you start from the top of your head and you go down your body, go into your head, into your shoulders, into your chest, into your belly, into your hip area, down into your leg. And as you go down scanning, just notice if you have any sensations in your body. You don't have to do anything, just notice for sensations. So gently shift your attention to the issue you chose to bring into the session today related to anger. Just focus on it. And as you focus on it, observe any sensations that you feel in your body, around your body. Observe emotions that are starting to surface, or the thoughts that are coming in. Now move your attention to the physical sensation. Where do you feel it? In your body, around your body? Or if you see an image, what do you see? So just pay attention to that. You may notice some tightness, discomfort, or other feelings in your body. Notice that, where you feel it. And also notice your emotion. How do you feel towards that? You may feel frustration. You may feel the anger. And it's okay. You are connecting to the part of you that holds that energy. So just focus on that physical sensation and direct your breath into that sensation, allowing each exhalation to create a space for relaxation or release. So just hold. And send breath into that area. If it's an image, send breath into the image. Now make a check. How do you feel towards it? Do you still sense anger or fear or any other emotion? If you do, keep breathing into that sensation in your body. And as you feel connected to this part, see if you can become curious about what it holds. What is the information it has? And what can you learn by being curious about it? If there are too many judgment or complex thoughts coming, you can tell all of them, saying, can you go into the waiting room while I focus on this anger or this sensation that I have in my body? You can do that as well. And they will go away into waiting room. So you can focus all your attention toward this part and just be curious again. Now, from this place of curiosity, you can ask a question saying, what is your intention for me? And wait for an answer. What do you want me to tell about yourself? What is your intention for me? And notice what you hear. And if you want, you can always write down. Remember to stay curious. And if you do not hear anything, just notice your feeling. If you still feel a bit of anger or frustration, just see if you can become curious and even compassionate towards this part. Now ask it, what are you afraid would happen to me? What are his fears for you? Again, if you want, you can take note of it. But just listen with curiosity and compassion. What you hear are fears for you. Inquire further and ask, saying, oh, if that happens, what do you afraid will happen then? Remember to stay curious and compassionate. What you will hear is what this part is protecting you from. So ask again, what are you really, really afraid about for me? What is your biggest fear, the ultimate fear for me? And notice what you hear. Does it make sense what you hear? And if it does, can you feedback and acknowledge by saying, I understand, and see how it responds to you? Now ask another question. Since when are you playing this role for me? And what happened that made you do it? So it'll tell you an age, and it may start to show you what was happening then. Remember to stay very compassionate and curious. It may show you an age, and may also show you what happened then. And just see if it makes sense to you. If it does, acknowledge, stay curious, stay compassionate. Now ask, what needs to happen for this part to relax and be less present in your life? Meaning, what should happen before this part can be assured that you're safe? So take a moment to listen from a place of compassion and curiosity as to what should happen so that this part can relax and be less present. So what you hear, does it make sense? And if it does, acknowledge and also take note of your actions to do, because normally it will tell things that should happen, that you can do for it to be more relaxed and less present. That assures it that you're safe. So take note and acknowledge. So now as you hear what it says and you acknowledge, notice the intensity or the feeling that you have in your part of your body where you felt it, or when you look at the image, if you saw an image, just notice the intensity. How do you feel? You can remind yourself as to where we started the event or the instance of the anger. Just go there again and check your response now. Does it feel the same, or you feel something shifted? And if something has shifted, see if you can acknowledge and thank to this part for coming forward and sharing with you. Now take a moment to thank all parts of you that came through. Some of them that you could have put them in the waiting room, some others that you are going to connect later. And just thank them all for their presence, for their participation in the process, and let them know that you are going to revisit this process, reconnect, and be back. Now take a moment to tell to all your community of parts inside of you your vision for life for yourself. What do you want? What is your vision for yourself? Take a moment. Now when that feels complete, start to come back. Take notes if you have to. If you haven't done during the session, just write down what came up. And then we will prepare for the tuning fork session. Okay, so If you are new to this, I'll just go through that first. In case you're receiving chemotherapy or head injury or sensitive to sound, so just you can unmute or go leave the session. The second thing is that we are going to go through a process of tuning forks, sound healing. In the process, basically what we do is to open the channel, this whole channel. You see the torus. And to do that, we start by using tuning fork below the feet and top of the head. So this opens the channel. And then use a pendulum to understand where, based on what you have all been here for, your intention, the vision that you just shared with your system, what areas to work on within your body and your biofield. And to do that, what we do is we use tuning fork to go into the field. So I will use a pendulum to find which center to work on, chakra, if you are familiar with that. And then it'll say whether to work on the left side or the right side, depends where it wants to work. And then we always start at the edge, which is about 6 feet from your body. And at the edge is the time of your when you were conceived. And then there is a pregnancy, and then you come into the world, and then you live your life to the present moment. Okay, so you will find me saying, well, at this age, this kind of emotion is coming up. So see what makes sense to you. Okay, and so what you do is you connect to that. If there's an event or thing that happened in your life that makes sense, to just connect to it, feel that emotion. Okay, and we are going to use two things. You will use breath, your breath. So you use a breath this way. You'll always breathe out. Okay, and that's what you will do in the breath. And sometime, if the emotion is too strong or it's very hard, then you can also do something like so you release. Okay, you will hear me say, you do the same with me. Okay, and then I will also use the tuning fork to clear up, and we'll keep moving through the timeline. Okay, here we go. So I will switch off my video because I'll be working, but you can hear me, and we'll start immediately now. So I want you to just connect to that vision you had, and then start with breathing. When you hear me say breathe, when you hear me say you do the same. Okay, and here we go. So I will start below your feet to open the channel below your feet. So I'm about 1 feet below your feet. Take a breath. Take another breath. I'm going to ground you, connect to your Mother Earth. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top of the head, and we'll do the same, but this time connect you to the heavens above. So now I'm pointing from your head into your head, opening the channel through your feet to Mother Earth. If you feel heaviness in the back, just relax. Okay, so I'm going to connect you to heavens and to the earth. Take a breath. Okay, now I'm going to run pendulum from your feet to the top of the head to see which center to work based on what you wish, what needs to be released. I'm on your knees, now the root. Okay. So root is holding energy. Again, left side. Sacral, no. Solar plexus, no. Heart center, no. Throat center, no. And also on the right side. So it's asking to work on both left and right of the root center. So the root center is a lot about anxiety, safety, security. It's about balance of giving and receiving. So I will start, actually it's asking me to start on the right side. So I'll start on the right side, which is called the father side. Okay. And then I'll go on the left side, which is the mother side. And the right side is all about overdoing and a lot of guilt. So we'll go there. So I will start at the edge, so your time when you were conceived, and then we'll get into the other edges afterwards, and I will tell you as I go forward. So just relax, and we're going to begin. So I'm going to change the tuning fork. It's not the same tuning fork. It's 144 hertz now. Before it was 174. And you're starting from time of your conceiving. Okay, take a breath. I'm at the point of conception. You just feel there's a pressure from the father side, seems. That could be to you, but could also be to the mother. Huh? So just stay with that. And whatever it means to you, bring the awareness and just breathe. So this is 3 months before birth. And it is going into a lot of anxiety in the second center. Also in the third center. So about who am I? Identity. Yeah. So it's not necessarily fear, it's about unknowing. So just breathe, or you can release as well. Take a breath. And see if you can calm down the little one. It's just, and say something, any word that comes from you, from a place of compassion, will help the little one. It doesn't know who I am, why I'm here. And it's saying you have to tell me before I let you move forward. So I'm stuck there. So take a moment to say this is why you are here. And send love to the little one. This is you 3 months before birth. So I'm going to change the tuning fork. It's still stuck. Needs more energy. But keep breathing. It's a tuning fork you cannot hear, but it's used to clear up. Okay, we go back. It's lighter. Even if you say I will come back and work with you and hear you, it'll be good. Yep. Okay, we are at the now birth. So just send love to the little one born, to the nursing staff, to the mother. Take a breath. So now it's saying about 2 years old, 2.5 years old. And it feels anxiety, it feels second center, so immediately. As if it's not feeling safe. Yeah. And feels sad. So just take a breath. So it comes to the age of 10 now. Same fear. The fear is back. It's gone to the back, so see if you can say I support you, because it needs support. It feels alone. The 10-year-old. Better. So now he's about 20 years old, between 19 and 20. Yeah, it's feeling very heavy in the root center on the left side, and he's saying something like, I have a lot of needs that have not been met. He's looking for support, looking for help, guidance, resources. Take a breath. And moves on. So he's about 30 now. Extreme fear. Unsafe. Just breathe. So now, present moment, today, feeling stuck. And so bring up the fear. Yeah, that's what he's saying. I want you to bring up all the fear. Look into it and breathe into it. And say you will be fine. So you have to give yourself an assurance. So now he's in the father zone. So what you brought in from your father. So what your father went through in his life, in his childhood. And there's a lot of anxiety, including sadness or loss in his early age. So see if you can send love, send understanding, acceptance, whatever makes sense, to your father. Okay, so now we are going to release everything out. Take a breath. Okay. Now we will freeze the system so things that have changed continue to work for the next 48 hours inside your body. And we will put you in a cocoon of 528 hertz so you can relax and be protected. As we bring our time together to close, let's just collectively pause to honor the journey we embarked on together. Imagine yourself as a sturdy tree, your roots reaching deep into nourishing soil and symbolizing your journey through depths of anger to understanding that you cultivate. And visualize your roots representing your resilience and courage as they intertwine with strengths you have discovered within. And watch out as your branches stretch out and each new leaf as becomes like a testament to your growth and your movement towards healing and self-awareness. Now with gentle compassion, hold space for your own narrative. Recognize that while experiences of abuse and the resulting emotional projections are part of your history, they do not define you entirely and your being. So set yourself an intention for coming time and acknowledge your journey of courage and offer yourself kindness and understanding that you would give to a dear friend. So just breathe in deeply, absorbing trust and self-belief. And when you feel ready, you can gently return to the present moment, carrying with you with an open heart the message and assurance. And I will open for Q&A, and we will have our next session on the 21st, which is an open Q&A, and then we will have a next session around facing fears. So when you feel ready, just start to come back.